Balcones' first ever year-round bourbon was an inspiration. It all had to work together. A blend of carefully selected ingredients, Texas-sized pot stills, and creative people determined to find the absolute best way to usher a new whiskey along. When you discover how it pairs with a meaningful moment, suddenly the feeling of drinking great whiskey becomes a whole lot more.
Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Whiskey Neat, spirited conversations with interesting people. I am your host, Christopher Hart. This week, I am so excited to sit down with Andrew Youngblood and Zahed Devji, two Houston comics that have been killing the game, two headliners that tour regularly and tell dick jokes. I'm excited to sit down with them because I've known them for a long time. They've both been on the show before, and we've got a few things I thought I would throw their way for them to taste. I just want to give a big shout out to Balcones and, of course, our friends over at Waterford. This episode is brought to you by them. And, without further ado, Andrew Youngblood and Zahed Devji. Cheers. Well, listen, thank you guys both for coming. I know last time we had Zahed on, you were with Mark Normand. I don't know if you read the comments on Mark Normand's on that video, but a lot of people were complimenting you and comparing you to Mark Normand, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I know. I get it.
He gets it all the time.
Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I don't know. I think some people think it's like intentional. I'm like, I'm just talking, man.
Sure.
And then
Yeah.
And Andrew, last time you were here with Dusty.
Yes.
We had some drinks. Apparently, you ended up needing to lay down after.
Yeah. You know what? Well, first off, I didn't really get it.
Sure.
I did a shot. And, you're like, try this. I'm like, cool. I'm an alcoholic. And then I'm kind of playing on the same thing today.
So yeah,
I have a meeting after this, but then after that, I'm like, well, I'll have to make the decision to nap or.
to be fair, his meeting is AA.
yeah. Well, I have a meeting.
I have to go to AA after. Are you drunk at AA?
Yeah. That's why I'm here.
yeah, you literally knew that. That's why I'm here.
Did you pregame your AA meeting?
Yeah.
So I know you guys. I'm sure you were up last night. You guys perform every night of the week?
No, not
even when the world was open. No,
when the world was open, I think I was
But a
close
lot.
to it. I think I was close to it, but I think
now it's hard.
now it's like
You just
once a week for me.
Sure, right now.
Probably, yeah, maybe twice. I'm not really doing mics, but
If you count the mics, I get probably a little more than once a week. But
yeah.
show wise is
I'm picking up one show a week on average, and then that's enough to just
Keep it fresh.
Yeah, I'll try out new material and stuff too there. It's kind of weird because it forces you to like tighten stuff up faster because you have less reps. You know what I mean?
you
Sure.
don't get to go up as much.
Yeah, so you're just like, I'm just gonna throw this out there and hope that
You can't be lazy with it.
it works. Yeah, and so it's kind of forcing you to trust yourself more. So
Especially when the things first started to open back up, shows were like, I remember getting like one show for the first month, and then the next I got like there was like 22 days until the next show, and I was like, all right, so I should work on that joke and that joke, but it was just 22 days of nothing.
Sure.
And then it's just like you're trying to remember all the little pieces of your joke, like the tiny little tags or like the little parts that make a difference, but no one else would know except for you. So it's
Sure.
so it's weird having to. For me, I was like having to go back and like listen to my sets, not to be like, what can I do differently? To be like, all right, so what was this joke? Like in general, just remembering it all.
In the meantime, you're resorting to do what Zahed is really good at, and that is, you're both good at it, but I tend to comment on yours more simply because I see you more often.
yeah,
Nothing on Facebook.
just
that
give
you
me
post.
the fucking compliment.
Sorry. Let me get it out.
Just kidding.
You're resorting to practicing jokes on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So you exist as a normal human being on Facebook, whereas you exist only to pitch funny jokes. And
We were just talking about that last night because I really think that that's the only value that
you get from it.
Well, yeah, I think like it's funny to me that like people seem to like I think I got a little political like recently, just because everything's so crazy. But I think for the most part, it's just like this is just like
just
the
fart
equivalent
jokes.
of like a yellow notepad. I don't really
Yeah,
take it seriously.
it's something that I've enjoyed. Obviously, I follow you both. Obviously, you both use it to make jokes. It's not the same as going to a show, and it's something that I miss. So,
Right.
and that's actually why you're here today, is I know that this weekend, on Friday, you're performing. Do you want to give it a plug? Give it the old 1, 2?
Yeah. It's
While I pour this delicious drink.
Dusty Rhodes has a. did you? I thought you were sighing because you're like, all right, let's hear his shit.
Oh no! I saw him. I was like, oh, we have to drink now.
Oh yeah, brutal.
We'll be fine in a minute.
Yeah, Friday. Dusty Rhodes, who runs the Rudyard's Mic, good friend of ours, in the pod. I'm headlining her show this Friday, and I think it's like limited cap. So I think it's maybe 35 or 40 cap, just to make sure that we're following like social distancing and stuff. So
Wait. So can you buy it in advance?
yeah. You can,
Okay, I probably should do that now then, because I already committed.
but
to going.
they will sell out because they're just capping the. She's making sure like everything is like
super socially distanced.
that like we're doing it safely and we're not just being idiots about
Well, she told me
stuff
about
like
it
this,
like
so.
a month
And
ago.
She's doing a great job. So
I think Charlie is going to go with us. We're going to go. We had a not to bring the room down, but a friend of
No,
ours
bring it down.
just found out he is now cancer free.
No, that's good. That's not bringing it down.
Not if you knew the guy. No, I just sorry, Zuka.
funny.
No, I meant the opposite. Just the idea of discussing cancer, but we're wanting to go out and celebrate and like.
don't worry, man.
go-
I have resting cancer face. So
Just go, that's a solid joke, especially with your hairline.
that was.
Oh, because you're bald.
Dude, did you see how he turned that into a compliment? And then immediately I felt
Sorry.
bad. He
No,
goes,
no,
"That's
no.
a solid joke because you're so damn ugly."
Yeah.
No. Look at me, man. I'm barely. I started. What do you call it? Not provincial. What's it
Keeps?
called?
Propecia.
What are we talking about?
Alopecia, yeah.
What is that?
It makes your
that hair stuff?
It's hair stuff.
Yeah. I started. Well,
But it's a trade off because it makes your noodle limpy sometimes.
Wait,
it can.
really?
Yeah, it can make your.
Well, you get the blue chew. You do that.
gas
you do-
station.
you balance it out. They fight each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah. That's you got to take Viagra and Propecia together and kind of
No.
be a
it's-
crazy person.
Do I smell it first? Is
Yeah,
that what
well,
you
I
do?
mean, yeah, sure. Go ahead. That's the one that's made with the natural honey. So for those listening, we talked about this before.
This is pure gasoline.
We took just sip it slowly. I always tell people if it burns too much, take a smaller sip. There's always a certain amount of sip that everyone could handle. So you take a super small sip just to get in your mouth, and then your mouth will start drooling. But that's a super honeyed, local Houston honey beef farm.
Oh my god. It's good.
It is. It is good.
But it's like if you bottled fire.
Yeah. I mean, you get used
What a
to it
great
eventually.
job you have.
It's fun, man.
You just get to talk to people and drink whiskey. That's literally what I pay to do every night. As I go out and I pay to
Someone
drink
to-
whiskey
yeah.
and talk to me.
It's to listen to you talk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
That is the one thing I miss about the way bars are set up now is there's no bar. Like you're at
Yeah.
a table with friends and you have to sit there with just them
And fill the void with.
It's
Point
you're like I already
banter.
know these people. This I don't want to sit here and talk to the bartender. That's what I miss is sitting at
You
the
like
bar,
yeah.
sitting at the bar and just like having conversation with a bartender. There's something about that.
Are you touring at all right now?
A little bit.
A little bit.
In February, I'll be with Mark Norman in College Station
Okay.
for the weekend, February 18th and 19th.
I as a side note, I totally embarrassed myself to Mark.
Hell yeah, I love those moments. That's like that's cutting you off really quickly just because I love those stories because those are the ones where it makes
the
you feel
worst.
just like a person again. I will purposely embarrass myself sometimes to feel
Okay.
humility.
Yeah.
Like right there.
Yeah,
I'll
that's why
purposely
you do
do it. Yeah.
I
Do it
do.
on purpose.
Dude, you ever just like trip for fun?
Oh, all the time. What?
It's silly.
Let me just lean back in this
Pratfalls.
chair. Yeah.
Kramer it.
So at the College Station store, I knew that he had booked it. It had been announced that he was it Brian or it is in College Station, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it,
I don't actually know the name of the place, but it is in College Station.
So, but it got announced like 2 weeks ago or something. So my buddy's like, dude, Mark Norman's within earshot of Houston. Let's go up there. We'll watch the show. I was like, okay, well, let's check out tickets. Well, I was in the middle when this whole thing was happening of sampling spirits. So we had some stuff coming in. We're cognac and rum. We're thinking about bottling.
Oh,
some
you're
more
just drunk.
stuff. We were sampling. It was a tasting in its class.
Sampling spirit. Oh Jesus!
And so I
took too big of a sip.
I go to Mark's website and it's down. And what is that sound?
Oh, that's my stomach.
Dude,
The light.
that's crazy.
It's crazy. How hot that is.
If you take too big of a sip, it hurts.
Dude,
You take a smaller sip.
I feel like
Well, I
that,
thought I could do a little bit bigger that time.
that should
And
come
it-
with a bottle of antacid.
I feel like people who are watching this that are whiskey fans are just looking at like
Making
these
fun of these fucking
assholes.
comics. Yeah.
Yeah.
Piece of shit comics.
These turds.
So so I go to the website to buy tickets because we were gonna go, and his website's down. And I was like, oh, I have Mark's number, and I was like, hey, Mark, your website's down. Just FYI, because I've had that happen where you changed your card, didn't know you changed your card,
Yeah.
your
Right,
website
right.
didn't renew, and I'm like, I'm looking out for the guy, right? He didn't respond, and then I went to his website from my phone to the computer, and it's up, it's fine. It was something on my end, so I just felt like a complete douchebag,
You forgot the R. You just typed it in wrong.
or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Whatever it was. I had the wrong website. I'm over here like a doofus trying to.
No,
hey,
I
man,
think
here's
that's-
your website's down.
Man, I think that's fine.
Yeah, he called me and he was talking about that. He brought that up. He's like, yeah, I want to come back to Houston soon, but there's just a guy
That
who's
guy's
just like,
so weird, man.
he's always on my website.
Sending me messages a lot. Let's figure out what that is.
You go ahead and keep going. I'm gonna just.
Sorry, guys. For those of you who can't hear it, and hopefully you can, there's a woodpecker sound that's.
Is
in
it
the
construction?
background.
There's construction going out in the front.
Yeah. They're basically revamping the whole building, put some money into it, which is good. I mean, if you're at ESPN in Houston, the place better look nice. This floor hasn't been done yet, but the second floor looks like a medical building. It looks insane.
Oh,
And
really?
Will they move you? So they'll move you out while they redo this?
No,
Or?
I think they just do it.
They just do it
They
around
just work
you.
around you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That'll work good for podcasts and recordings.
So you're going to. Well, a lot of this is what we're doing.
I love that you can't lean forward. It's awesome.
I can't. Yeah. Well, I can't. Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like I'm blocking.
You are blocking.
Sure.
it.
And
That's the
so
fun part.
I do it,
keep
and then I
getting to-
realize it. I'm like,
I keep getting to watch it, and I finally brought it up because I'm
Yeah.
like, I love watching you shift.
I just look autistic and
Trying
I'm
to be
rocking while it's
comfortable. So you're doing the Mark Norman show. You said in January or February?
not- February 18th and 19th.
Is that the next time you're performing?
I'm sure I will do shows. That's just my most recent thing, and that I got yesterday, and it's the only thing I could. Well, I mean, he just came up, and
Sure.
that's really what that was about.
That's what's so weird is everyone I know. I know so many comics that are just. It's
Yeah.
What are you supposed to do? I mean, you can't. You're either spreading it or getting it. Right.
I go to chatterbait rooms and I just do my jokes there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the one chat roulette where it's
Chat
just,
roulette.
There's
You
always
know?
just a
I
guy
love that.
jacking it, and I'm like, hold on, give me one
Let
liner.
me get the punchline out.
Chat
first.
roulette was cool. It was fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was great.
Chat roulette's.
Remember the? I don't know if you guys are Ben Folds fans, but
Ben from Ben Folds 5?
yeah, the same guy.
Yeah.
He used to do those like chat roulette things where he'd be playing chat. He added a live concert. He'd have it like pulled up on the screen.
Oh, that's funny.
And he would just play and sing about what was happening to the people playing, and then there'd be a
love
crowd behind him, and it was absolutely wonderful.
Chat roulette's the place that you can go and get that need to expose yourself.
That's
Out
actually
without-
their slogan.
This
This is the place you go.
This is the
when
place you do
have-
without having to become a registered sex offender.
Yeah.
Basically,
Yeah.
it's a cathartic release.
It's weird.
So there's an Indian single malt company that did a little release for the show.
Nice.
So
Oh, that's you on there.
that's somebody.
You wear those types of hats a lot.
No. So that's
Is that supposed to be you?
well, yeah. So that
I see the
started.
hat?
It started. His name is Whiskey Pete.
Okay.
My Instagram handle is Whiskey Pete. Essentially, right after we got married, my wife and I went to Scotland.
My
we
wife.
traveled, and I played up the whole red beard, flat cap. Whatever
Gotcha.
that cap's called, I don't know.
I don't know either.
But
I've
the-
always been jealous of people that can wear it and look not like a douche.
Yeah.
And so
I don't know that I pulled off the
I was gonna
knot
say I
part.
don't think I've ever met one person that's done that.
That's been able to pull it off.
I've always wanted to wear those hats. I think they're the coolest.
When we came up with the design for the show, we decided to throw Whiskey Pete on there. He's a little character version of me, but I wore it to answer your question one time.
Nice.
One time in Scotland, I wore it. It was enough for us to make a caricature out of. So that or there was actually 2 examples of him. One of them was without the cap, and the artist made me look super bald. So I was like, just put the hat on it. Just help me out here.
Yeah.
Why would he do that? That's so funny.
Because people do that.
Yeah.
Jack's off camera. But you actually did that. You started doing you got commissioned a few times.
I did. But what I was gonna say is, I think I think it's tough to see a picture of yourself drawn, because you see the flaw and you're like, can you make me skinnier? They're like, you're not skinnier.
Sure.
So but it's weird just seeing that drawing. You're like, my hairline's it's better than. Oh, I guess it's not.
His arms are my literal same size arms. I mean, it was a very rough thing to face when he gave I still got that picture lying around somewhere, but I look awful. I was like, well, make him like me, inspired by me, but not me. Like, make him better. So
great.
I look like when you finish drawing the Hangman at the end of Hangman.
You're skinny.
That's the
Skinny.
joke. All right. You're doing a lot of heavy breathing today.
It's tough. Today is a tough day. It's a friend's birthday, so we did like the midnight thing.
Sure.
So we hung out at midnight for his birthday.
How late were you up?
3, 4.
Oh, that's too much.
I woke up at 6. I can't stop waking up early anymore. I don't know what's happening.
Really?
I've been going out all the
2 hours of sleep.
I'm exhausted. Yeah.
This is why these things help. It always blows my mind. Someone like, I can't stand shots. You do shots, right? You're part of this environment, this club environment thing that happens, right? So you feel like shit when you've had too much the next day. I will slowly get there. Like, we'll have like 5 or 6 pours watching our favorite show. I wake up feeling like shit. But a pour, as I spill it all over myself, a pour tends to make me, kind of feel better, right? Like a little less.
Well, a pour also sounds so much classier. I will take a pour,
Especially in a stemmed glass.
I'll have one pour.
Yeah, it's
You're talking about people. Just give me one pour.
the Statue of Liberty. That's what it says. But
Give me one pour.
yeah, the glass. I say this, but the glass makes a difference, because like a martini is just like. It's just vodka in a cup. That's all it is. But then the glass and the olive and the onion and the vermouth, and you're like, oh, it's a drink. You're like, no, if you put that same drink in a mug
or in a styrofoam cup,
you're an alcoholic.
You're an alcoholic, right?
But you make the glass like, nice and flowery in it.
I never understood I always just feel like, what do they call it? Hair of the dog?
Yeah. Oof.
Hair of the dog.
I really,
Where does that saying originate from? What is that? Does anyone
Dogs,
know?
when the dogs used to drink alcohol.
Oh, I was doing that, your joke, not the whiskey. I just did.
Sorry, was that joke rough?
All right.
I've seen you guys perform together probably a dozen times. I think you guys, I know briefly during COVID, you guys entertained the idea of doing some virtual stuff, which can be tough.
We did. We're not great at computers.
Sure.
Like, we're not bad at it, but we were struggling. It's hard to figure it's hard to do a show and then produce an online show that will be worth it. Right. We just never really got to that, but we have started.
We did
our first episode of our podcast last night.
Oh, so you have a podcast.
We're doing a podcast together.
That's what I was leading up to. I thought the dynamic between you two is a lot like brothers. You guys have this really great, and not relative brothers, just black guys together.
Yeah.
just two brothers.
Dude, I was literally thinking that, and everything in my head was like, don't say this, don't say this, don't say this, don't do this, don't do this.
In
for this
the
podcast.
middle of saying it, your eyes fluttered like you had a thought, and then it gave me the thought. I was like,
you think I sent it to you?
Yeah.
That's because that's straight up. I even had to stop and go,
I've
we're
always
happy and we're singing, and like the intro of Wayne's Brothers.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be a brother, so it's nice.
And a lot of comedians, Bert Kreischer says that nothing beats black approval. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So what's the name of the podcast? When are you guys, how often are you doing it?
Like we did our first episode yesterday.
I don't think we're releasing any of that.
We're gonna hold off. We are. It was good.
It was hot mess.
Yeah, it was one of the first. It was our first thing, so we're trying to figure out all the technology, and again, we're bad. We're just bad at everything.
I also think like when we first started doing Trash Flavor Trash, the Tuesday show, it took us a little bit to kind of find
What it is.
what the show is.
Sure.
And so when you move it to even something like taking the same thing and putting it in a podcast, it's like it's just a different. You're taking the same thing, but you miss the live elements. So it's just a different format. So then you have to figure that out. And I think that I was trying to work it out yesterday was like still like picking up like learning lessons.
Yeah, the show will mold over time, obviously.
I don't know of any, and you guys might have more insight on this. I don't know if you were to say like what the top 10 podcasts in Houston are. I don't know what those would be or what they would be necessarily. Smaller sips.
I'm also not sure.
But I know that consistency is key. You got to release every week.
Yours
same
is.
time.
I think yours is in the top 3 probably.
I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely. It's been great. And
You got a bunch of amazing guests, and you got great viewership.
Things have been.
You have a huge dick, you know.
The one thing I do wish my show did have is
More
co-host
with a big dick.
with a big dick. No,
He wears mesh shorts
you're
all
in
the
luck,
time.
buddy.
You can see
No,
it.
a band-
It's that meme of that guy, the big black guy with the giant.
yeah. I don't
Oh,
know what
That's
meme.
your co-host.
The guy on
You've
the
never
side
seen
of the bed.
Yeah,
They
the
turned
guy.
it- they
Everyone knows.
Everybody
which,
knows it.
They
His
turned
name
him into
is-
Shrek.
His name is
so
something
funny.
Wood.
something would.
Makes sense.
Is that it's a porn name? Is
You
he
know
a
what's
porn star?
the
in the
sad
thing?
tragedy of that meme? So that
he
was
die?
that
His
was
kids
first
see
of all
that.
he's
He doesn't
dead.
have cancer anymore.
First of all, he's dead.
Oh.
Well, that is very
Whoa.
sad.
Secondly, he was only doing porn because he was out of cash and needed the money, and it was gay porn, and he had a fiance. Like the tragedy of that meme, and that meme took off after he died.
Ooh.
And so
That's tough.
again, I'm bringing it down. First the cancer jokes, and now the
Yeah.
dead guy forced to do gay porn. But I always just wish I had someone to have a good rapport with, a banter with. Like, you know, it's
Right.
fun doing the show, but honestly, like me just kind of fawning over Mark Norman wouldn't have been as good if it wasn't for you. And a lot of the comments said as much. Like you two, I've seen you two perform together, and I've talked to a lot of local Houston comics who think that you two are great together.
Thanks, man.
And I'm not going to tell you who, but they.
Because I made it up.
But I totally made that statistic up. Don't get me wrong. No, I think it's great for you. And plus, everyone knows how. I mean, Bert Kreischer. I can name 15 comedians who would be nothing if not for podcast. They're great comics, but they were doing it one at a time per city. You
Yeah,
know,
of course.
Gotcha.
You know, even Bill Burr. I mean, the legendary Bill Burr.
Right.
His podcast has helped. He's talked about it.
I
you know?
think, I think a lot of like stand up is over time, like learning you start like language almost just stops mattering at a certain point. It's because that's what you work in. You know, you're constantly joking and talk. So like, I feel like that kind of helps the ability to not really care too much about. You know, like you throw away lines more. Like I don't care as much about what I say.
Sure.
But in the past, when I wasn't doing, like it's funny. Like I can come in as a stand-up and like in a conversation and say something like outlandish, and they'll go, "Oh, he does stand-up. It's fine." It's like a carte blanche to get away with.
We hope so.
Right. I'm not saying. I'm not saying take that like.
Ralphie May could say the N word and get away with it, right? But
Which is crazy because he's dead.
I think once you're
but, like, you
you're
get a little bit
certain
more
weight,
leeway.
you can say whatever you want. I think that helps with him too. Everyone's like, "Yeah, all right, Ralph,
One of
you're
my
very
biggest-
fat. it's fine."
One of my biggest points of pride is his sister delivered my 2 kids.
Ralphie May's sister.
May's sister is a midwife, and she delivered our last 2 kids.
Wow.
And what's crazy is they look
Just like Ralphie
exactly
May.
the same. They look the same. And her last name is May, and I never realized it until after he died. She made a post like, "I love you, baby brother." It was a picture of them together, and I was like, "Your hand's been near my wife's vagina." Like that's the first thing.
She makes that post and then you message her. Can you believe?
I would have had you sign it.
Sign my kid.
It just blew me away. I just couldn't
That's
believe
crazy.
it.
That's
Yeah.
small world stuff, man.
Yeah.
He was.
So what's the name of the podcast?
It's gonna be called Trash Flavor Trash.
Oh yeah,
That was the second one.
a whole list. Trash
of,
flavor
of
trash.
names. I should have explained that. This already is affecting me. So I want to
Yeah.
let you know
I
this.
just had a sip and I'm like,
Well, you're
literally-
smiling more when you showed up. You look so sad and depressed.
Well, yeah,
You
that's
had
my
2
that's my
drinks and
default. That's my default.
Resting cancer face.
Yeah, no, it's already working. The booze is good.
That's also one of the ideas. So the show kind of started off. We were interviewing a lot of people who just drank whiskey, but I always like my original plan for this was I pitched it to our publicist. I was like, hey man, I would love to sit down with celebrities and have drinks with them. I think getting a few drinks in them would make for a great discussion.
Right.
Even if we went on for an hour and a half, we could boil it down to a good solid 30. Whatever,
Yeah.
in post. He's like, yeah, but no one's gonna want to sit down with you. Like, you realize that you're nobody. And I was like, well, hold on now.
Dude, your publicist sounds awesome.
He's very brutal.
He's just
very
like,
brutal.
dude, no one likes you. Your wife doesn't want to talk to you.
And you're an alcoholic. Yeah.
He's from the Rock 101 KLOL days. Like,
Okay.
he was back then
Yeah.
when they were like, let's bring a donkey in and talk about Howard Stern. Like, they were like, look, shock jocks, right? They were looking for the crazy thing.
That was the coolest.
And so-
what a time to be alive.
They just had all the sound
In
effects.
the
The
90s.
90s
Auga.
was such a weird time to be alive because offensive was like cool.
Yeah.
Like, that was like the
Howard
whole
did
thing.
that. 100% Howard.
Yeah, being
Yeah.
mean was fun.
Yeah.
But so it started off with just interviewing people who drink, and then I knew if I had a few drinks into a comedian, gold would come out. And it has. And the Dolph Lundgren episode, I've talked about this to death.
That's
But
so awesome. I love that so much.
he talked about the first time he ever saw a black person.
Yeah, you told me that and about the AIDS story too,
In the AIDS
right?
story,
Dude, that
it's
killed
my
me.
favorite thing,
That
and
killed
they let
me.
me keep it in, and I was like, "Thank you so much."
That's wild.
He at one point, Dolph Lundgren. You remember Dolph?
Yeah.
Thought that you just like in the 80s, he thought you just like got AIDS, like AIDS
COVID.
would be on stuff.
Nobody-
So he'd, like,
nobody
wash
knew
his
anything
dishes and
about it.
Everything in his apartment because he don't.
Wild.
And they had a lot of 80s cocaine parties in New York. So they threw out all their furniture, all their
Yeah.
dishes, and tried to sell their apartment. But home values plummeted. And they had all these parties in the 80s with coke and gay people. And he was like, our whole house, like, our lives are ruined. And so they sold everything
There's
they had.
AIDS everywhere.
Wow.
Just imagine
It
Dolph
was-
Lundgren.
Just like super.
That's
That's
wild.
so funny, man.
It's so and that's what I'm saying. Like, if I can just do that,
Mm-hmm.
it hasn't been announced yet, but we're gonna sit down with William H. Macy. I want to talk to him
Looks
about
like
his
it's been
penis
announced.
and cooler.
You just did it.
It's coming.
That's
It's coming.
awesome, man.
You could flag that and delete that as well, Jeff.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
go ahead and delete the whole thing. The whole pod.
We're gonna start the pot all.
Yeah.
Didn't how was your sit down with Macanagi?
It was good. He's way more human than you think.
Right? Isn't that the learning lesson with life?
Yeah. And I think Mark said
Why are
that
you
too.
laughing about that? That was
Because
nice.
it felt like a joke.
I also like that you had whiskey in your mouth, so your face is doing like 10 emotions.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's mostly hurting.
Everything I've heard about it has just been like he's. I didn't know he was as human as he is.
right.
He's an A-lister. So it was a bit bizarre, and
Yeah.
we didn't promote it in advance at all because I swear to God I thought he was going to cancel last minute. I thought
that
if I
makes
said
sense.
anything, somebody would be like, "Why are you doing this?" and then he would cancel.
Right.
And so we didn't announce it until literally it was happening. The post was all drawn up, and then as soon as he showed up on that screen, up post, and then we filmed for an hour.
That's
and
awesome.
He was very down. Matthew McConaughey couldn't have been a nicer guy, so it was pretty cool. And then you guys followed up right after, so. It's like
Boom.
Are we the next ones after
And
the
it-
Mac?
no,
They
no.
just
There was
get
2
bigger.
episodes
His
apart.
guests get bigger and bigger every episode. It's just more.
More bloated.
Yeah. Yes. I'm by far
physically
the
bigger. He's
fattest.
like, that's not what I meant.
Next time it'll be Ralphie May's kids.
Hey,
And
so
then-
I do want to ask you about your nude beach photo. Is that really a nude beach?
yeah, I was. I was in Miami and
For what?
did a show and then hung out mostly.
Showing your
and,
your cock to strangers?
And I got
Answer
convinced.
it.
I wanted to. I wanted to go. I've always wanted to try. I was like, I got to try it, right? So I go, and it's not really labeled. It's a very popular beach. Apparently, it's like the biggest nude beach in the U.S. It's like what the most famous one, I guess.
It'd be so great if Zod convinced you it was a nude beach. It's the biggest one in the U.S. Just go.
Yeah, just go.
And
Just go.
it's
Take your
not
clothes
the-
off.
it's not-
Yeah, just not. Everyone's got. All right, I guess I'll be the first one to start the party. Just take off my clothes.
That's
Everyone's like, what?
illegal. No, we're just
But it was optional, and it was fun, and it was funny.
How did that feel? That moment it was out.
Well, I brought some drinks with me because I got out there first, and I was like, "Am I in the right place?" Because
Did you
again, it's
fluff?
not very labeled. And then I was just
question.
like, saw like 6 dicks, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, I think I'm in the right place." Which is weird because in Miami, everyone seems to wax everything, so
and
they're
you're
just
clearly a bear.
yeah. I've got hair. All right, and it was just strange because like penises that are smaller looked even weirder when they're like no, they just looked like a giant baby's walking around. And even when there was a big dick, I was like, that baby's got a huge dick. Like that's what it looked like.
Well, as you gain weight, you do start to resemble a toddler.
Yeah.
Right. A little protruding tummy.
Yeah.
The fupa.
And then you're just gonna take all your body hair away. That's wild. And it was weird. It was fun though. And I had some drinks, and then I was like, it's optional, so I kept my shorts on. I went out to the ocean, and I was like, all right, I'm drunk enough. Let's do this.
You took them off in the water?
Yeah, I took them off in the water and then walked back to my towel.
Ooh, that's a good method.
And it's funny because I was like hyping myself up, and in my head, and
in the water, he's
a
like
little
this.
bit.
In the
You
water, he's
got
like
a
this.
little bit.
I want to come out with a freaking gonzo, gonzo nose.
Oh,
That's what I want.
No, it's. I did see one guy with the full on erection.
What?
And it was just like everyone's like, "Oh, look at this guy!"
Horrifying.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
that's like nude. That's
Doesn't
next
that make
level
you
nude
angry?
beach.
He hung his towel on it. It was-
That would make me
You know what? I'm
angry,
backing.
man.
I like the guy.
This is a family beach.
I think you go if you go full boner at a beach, you're like a creep, but then you make it silly. That's
yeah.
kind of fun.
No, he didn't put a towel on it, but wouldn't that be great?
I was
Yeah.
really into that.
No.
It'd be great if he was just like, check it out.
You guys need lotion?
I had to.
He's
You know
going
what's
around making jokes.
I was so nervous about the whole thing. I forgot to bring sunscreen, and I had to ask someone for sunscreen when they
And
were
you stared at them in
when
the
they were
eyes like-
naked. And I was like, and it was this really nice old couple, like I'm talking like 70s. And I walk over, I go, "This is weird," and it was only weird. Like they obviously do this all the time, and it was weird for me. I had my shorts on at the time, so I'm just walking up to a naked person and be like, "Can I borrow your sunscreen?" And then I put on the sunscreen. And I give it back to her, and the old lady was so sweet. She goes, "You should really get more on your calves because they can burn, and people don't think about that much." And I'm just like, I can see your tits. This is too much.
can see
Uh.
She's just giving me like casual advice, and I was like, this is wild.
The sheer innocence of like you're Andrew Youngblood, right? First of all,
Yes.
coolest name I've ever known that's not in porn. And secondly, just as far as you know,
I was gonna say it.
Jack's off camera.
so side note, when I work in aviation as a day job,
Okay.
and
Is that planes?
when we have a captain whose legit name was Dick Pound.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it's something I couldn't let go of the first time I saw it. And he didn't want you to call him Captain. Usually you refer to him as Captain. He wants you to call him
Oh.
Dick. Yeah, speaking of dicks.
It's our buddy Chase.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I just think it's funny for you to
He
be...
wanted you. You know why? Because he knows. He's like, it's cool. Like he knows that's.
one of our... I've told this story too. One of our clients was... what's his name? Pew Pew, Star Wars? Harrison
Han
Ford.
Solo.
And
It's his real name.
in his profile it said to call him Captain Ford, don't refer to him as Harrison, and don't ask about Star Wars. Like it was like one of these clear
Wow.
guidelines, but just the sheer innocence of you to you're intimidating to a lot of Houston comics. You're someone that I think has been for you to be out there and be legit nervous.
But also, have you noticed
Oh,
with him? I tell him this all the time. But you do have resting bitch face as an adult man.
I wasn't sure about you at first either. I
Like,
actually
literally
Everyone
looks
thinks
like-
I'm angry
Yeah, everyone-
all the time.
I
And then
sent
he-
messages to Dusty. I was like, "Hey man," he like saw my message, but he didn't say anything. I can't really get a read of Andrew, and she's like, "He's like that to everybody." I
Yeah.
was like, all right, cool.
Everyone thinks you're a big jerk, and it turns
Yeah.
out you're a big stupid
big
idiot.
Total
Sweetheart.
asshole, big giant
Big
naked
dumb
baby at
dummy.
the beach.
Yeah, a nervous baby,
With
just
his
like
little cock at the beach.
when you get cock in the beach. All right.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was a fun experience though. But I was in the water and I took off like my shorts, and I was having this moment like, all right, I got the curl. Like in my head, it was like this
I'm gonna
big
do
moment for everything. I was like, all right, everyone's gonna start clapping when I get out of here. Like everyone's, and then I'm like walking, and
You slow clap yourself?
no one's paying attention at all. And I've just made this whole thing, and I was like, and then I laid down for a little bit. It was weird, but
No,
it was
it's
fun.
great. I
But it was a
think
lot of
it's-
fun.
it's
I would
cool.
I would do it again. Maybe.
Yeah,
It was fun, and it was an experience, a good story.
sure.
And
I feel like you could tell it on stage. That could be worked into something.
I think I might try something. I like the baby the big dick baby line. It's pretty good.
Hey, everybody. I want to talk to you quickly about our friends over at Waterford Irish Whiskey. Mark Rainier, the brainchild, the mastermind behind the revival of Brookladdie, has set out to launch single farm, single origin Irish whiskey. We recently got to open the Organic Gaia 1.1 from Waterford. Absolutely fantastic. Easily my favorite of the bunch. Irish single malt whiskeys from a single farm, single harvest origin, expressions of precision and purity, showcasing exactly what terroir means in whiskey. The coolest thing I've seen with these is something I haven't seen anyone else do. On the back of the bottle and the back of the box, both, there is an actual terroir code. You can look it up online and check out all the information you would ever possibly want to know about Waterford's whiskeys, individual. Go to glassreb.com/Waterford. There they will tell you about. Let's try that again. Go to glassreb.com/Waterford. It will tell you where to buy the 3 single farm origin USA exclusive expressions, as well as the Organic Gaia Edition 1.1. Waterford Irish Whiskey, truly changing the game. Cheers.
You know, well, we kind of went at it last night, but also this is good. I mean, this is obviously good booze, you know.
Yeah, so and those are all. So I gave you the hottest stuff so far. This is an Irish whiskey, which is really mild.
Oh, good. I love mild.
So Waterford is a brand new organic Irish distillery. They sent over some 100 proof offerings. Those are basically gasoline. What you currently taste.
That's what they tasted like.
Yeah.
Yep.
Premium, though.
The best.
Good
yes.
stuff.
The
Like good stuff.
We're talking about that $4 a gallon shit.
Yeah, diesel. I don't know if that's better.
It is now. This is Irish whiskey, so you're welcome for a little softer. Not as.
Did you pour this?
Not yet.
Oh,
You don't even. This guy is like, I don't even know what I'm drinking. I have no
I
idea.
don't know what's going on, man. There's a lot of baby dicks.
I made sure I stopped and ate on my way over here.
I tried to.
Smart.
I forgot. I was like, I have to get something in me before we start this.
I'm doing 2 today,
Oh, nice.
and you're
What do
the
you mean?
first.
Oh, you're doing two
There's two
episodes?
of
Two shows.
us. That's us too.
Yeah, I'm doing both of you later. No,
Whoa.
there's we're doing a separate episode at 3. I don't even have my watch on. I tried to stop, but this area is a death trap for restaurants. Apparently, there used to be a Subway next door. It's gone. Jersey Mike's was right across the street.
Oh,
It's
Jersey
gone.
Mike's, a sub above.
Yeah, Smashburger was across the street too. They're
I
gone.
love a good smash burger.
I tried to stop to get some food in me before you guys came because I didn't know what this was going to turn into. And,
Right.
I definitely could use some food.
I stopped at Starbucks.
I would.
That's all.
We get it.
Nothing
You're
good to
rich.
say about
We got
that.
it.
I would love it if in like an hour later the podcast just us just having just so many wings instead of just ordering for just quietly
eat
sitting
for an
here.
hour.
Yeah. be
So
great.
TJ, the last time TJ Miller was coming through, I offered for us to do food. He has a hot sauce line, and we were gonna just eat barbecue from Houston. 'Cause
Oh, cool.
Houston's got the most insane barbecue setup.
Yeah.
And Truth Barbecue. So I think it'd be fun if we did kind of a hot ones thing, but not so obviously copying them or whatever.
Right. I get that.
Cold ones. We
Did
slowly
you?
we eat colder and colder wings until the final one is just frozen. And you have to eat
Can you
it.
tweet this, please? Can you please tweet this?
Yeah, please.
That's such an amazing. You have to eat a frozen
Yeah.
wing.
And you have to get through it.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
You have to get through it.
Please tweet that.
That would be so.
All right, you guys got a minute?
Yeah.
Okay,
Tweet it.
tweet it while it's
Tweet
still
it.
fresh. Tweet it while it's still fresh.
New show idea, cold ones.
Did you ever see Not Ones?
No, what's that?
So
Two guys eat nothing. They
play air guitar for.
You guys,
They just mime eating food.
Jay and Silent Bob. They tried to get on Hot Ones, and Sean Evans passed
Wow.
what a dick.
and was like, "Well, it wasn't Sean Evans; it was Sean Evans' people." So this is the
Why would
this
they
is
do that?
this is the story. So they were doing Jay and Silent Bob reboot. Jay and Silent Bob, Kevin James, what's his name? Kevin
No.
Smith.
Kevin
You're thinking
Smith.
King of Queens.
Yeah.
Love him.
Kevin Smith and
It's a great show.
Grown-ups.
the Jay and
I don't
Silent
know
Bob. Jason Mewes. They were like, can we do Hot Ones to promote our tour?
Oh, cool.
And their people passed, and so out of anger, they picked a Public Feud and they filmed one called Not Ones.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it was the exact same thing, but they're clearly pissed off at Sean Evans. So if you Google Not Ones,
That's hilarious.
and then Sean Evans responded publicly like, "No, I didn't pass on you.
Yeah,
in
my
fact, we
people-
actually offered to a different date in return, and you didn't respond." It was like a
Yeah.
whole misunderstanding thing.
Gotcha,
And
gotcha.
it ended up being like a whole everyone turned against Sean, and then everyone turned against Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah, people pick sides, and that's
And now no one likes either one of them.
Yeah. Cold ones though,
you got something. It
it's
has
still-
legs. It has legs.
I know.
It has legs.
chicken legs.
Frozen.
But yeah, that's those kind of like things that just I don't know. I don't want to get too serious. Just scrap my whole thought. What were you
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. I mean, well, I mean, say whatever you want.
I've been scrapping all your thoughts this whole time.
Literally, I
my-
told Jack that
my
every time
thoughts-
you speak to just hard cut to Andrew saying something.
My thoughts range from like only jokes to just like immediately like the heaviest thing I can think of.
It really does. And
It's
you'll
just those two
you'll
things
make
back and forth.
That's
the
a-
worst joke ever, and then you'll be like, and then my mom is struggling with depression. I'm like, what is that?
It's like yeah,
to do
there's
with-
nothing in the middle. It's either completely surface level bullshit or just the heaviest thought like you're gonna die and everybody you know is gonna die. And
Well, everyone is gonna die.
I know, but it's hard to waver between those two worlds
Being completely silly all the time.
and then completely just the worst in your own head.
I don't know if I ever told this story, but I went up one time.
Really?
The first time I ever saw you guys.
I think you told me this, but I don't remember what.
Well, then stop me if I did.
Okay, cool.
So the very first time
Maybe
I
I'm
met
not sure.
both you guys
Uh-huh.
was at Trash Flavored Trash.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a great show. Tuesday nights, open mic afterwards. You
Right.
guys, both of you ripped into me the whole time.
Yeah,
And-
I remember that you told me that. Yeah.
Both of you ripped into me the whole time. I get kind of painted as a hipster because of the plaid and the
Yeah.
red beard, but I'm very not hipsterish.
What did we say? I'm curious because I
don't
don't
remember, but in my head, I was coming up with a comeback if you came at me again. So I remember,
which
pi-
never works out. I
No,
know in
it-
your head you're like, yeah, I'm gonna get him, but it just never works out when
No.
you're like, when you see a audience member be like, oh yeah, well, you're stupid. You're like
Yeah,
whatever the comeback
Dude, I was
is. and-
pitching ideas to Charles. It was before Charles was doing his. He was in the rotation of open micers. I was pitching like, dude, if he calls me out again, I'm gonna call him Gay Russell Crowe. Is that funny? like I'm pitching ideas
That's great.
to my friends. You never came at me again, but I went up that night. I had a great like 5 minute. It was like it was enough for me to think that I could do it.
yeah.
And then
Right.
not that long ago, I went up a second time and ate a total bag
That's
of
the
dicks.
plan.
That's
Sure.
how it goes.
And
That's-
it was
that's
so
what it goes.
bad. And Debbie, that same night that I went up and had like a solid 5, she came up right after me, and she told a joke where she was like, "Oh, I got 23andMe done. Found out I'm 95% Jewish," and I just booed. Like I was the only one that booed. And
That's so funny.
it was really funny in the moment.
Yeah.
But again, it gave me like all this false confidence, and then
Yeah,
I
yeah.
went up.
Booing. And
went
I
up-
started heckling every comic after that.
No, I didn't heckle. I
And
didn't
that's
he-
when I found my calling is the worst guy alive.
Professional heckler.
I didn't make it a thing
That'd
to
be
heckle
so
people.
funny, professional.
But I went up a couple months later, and she went up after me. I ate a bag of dicks trying to tell a story about my daughter, my stepdaughter. I think it's Mike Birbiglia that tells a story where his wife has been over putting a DVD in a DVD player, and he almost smacked her on the ass. And right before he hit her, he realized it was his stepdaughter. All those years of trust down the drain, blah blah blah.
Oh, that's funny.
And so I was like, well, I can never tell that story again. But
Also, there's this guy. Do you know who's the comic that destroys hecklers?
there's a few.
Who's the guy though?
Schulte's
Steve?
fantastic.
Is it Steve?
Hofstetter.
Steve Hofstadter.
I would love it if there was a video series from, because you were saying like as a professional heckler, that's just a funny idea. But I would love to see the video series.
Heckler destroys comic.
But from his angle, he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
dude, check it out, I've destroyed this guy. He just goes to all the
Like a bunch of cut videos of a heckler just
Yeah.
like he legit records every show he goes to.
yeah, and you heckle, and yeah, so it's the exact opposite of that. But it's like you follow Steve Hofstetter around and you just heckle.
Have you ever?
It's like a personal feud.
Have you ever been heckled and
All the time.
lost? Like you didn't know what to say, and then they're like, "Fuck."
Here, can I tell you my thing like when that happens?
Okay, I was trying to lead into mine, but
Like Literally set up punch. You know how comedy works.
I don't mean.
No,
the,
I'm kidding. No,
I don't mean the story.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying like what I do when that happens is you just shit on yourself. You just take his side,
Oh, dude.
and then you're fine.
That's what I told
It is easy to shit on yourself.
And then
It's
You
funny.
take the power away from
Yeah.
him. That's
Exactly.
what. But what's
That's
his?
it.
I don't know what his name was. Eminem
It's like
was
the
in,
bully thing when you're a kid
Mile.
and you're
I
like,
am gay and small. And they're
Yeah.
like, ha ha, and like I'm back.
you're like, I already said that. You can't call me a queer. I called myself a
Self a
queer. You copycat.
yeah, and then all of a sudden he's like, ah, shit, and then you look fine. So
Charles-
what happened with you?
I got heckled one time by Sean Rouse, who I don't know if you're familiar.
The best guy.
Great comic. Has an HBO special somewhere.
All right.
He's a comic and he heckled you.
Oh, he was.
Sean-
he-
oh, man.
Unfortunately, this is towards the. He passed away a few years ago.
Oh, no.
He was,
This was
very
probably
good
this was
friend.
about 2 years probably before that, and he had his own struggles, and one of them was alcohol. And my first show ever. This is my first booked show ever. I'm opening up for him, and he gets very intoxicated.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then I go up, and this is the only time I've ever been heckled hard where I was like, I don't know what to say or do. Also, it was my first show, so it was very
Also, it's Sean.
traumatic. Yeah, it's him. But his heckles, I just hear this. I go up, I start my first joke.
Just to be clear, you were booked,
Yes.
so he was paying you,
Well, he wasn't. The promoter was.
right? But you're on the same lineup as him.
Yes, exactly.
Sean was notorious for stuff
He
like
was
this.
so hammered, right? And I just hear, ah, and he just starts making fart noises through my entire set. And I'm like, this is my first show. I don't know what to do. And I was like, that's the headliner doing that. So I don't.
You called him out there.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know what to do. I ended my set early, and I was like, I'm gonna get out of here. And then unfortunately, I actually ended up having to pull him off stage because he was too drunk.
Sure.
And someone else filled in.
You
but
started the story with saying how great the guy was. He sounds
Yeah.
like a real
he
piece of
is
shit.
great. He
also was a great piece of shit.
Yeah,
both
he
things.
was both.
Definitely both things.
He was a good guy though.
One of the
to be
funniest
clear,
people- one of the
that
funniest
was
people
just
I've
like
ever
everyone has struggles, and his unfortunately was alcoholism. And sometimes when he
As
got
we sit around 9 bottles of booze.
at
Yeah.
noon,
Yeah.
but because of that, there were times where you're like, dude, this is a lot.
Yeah,
right
Sean,
now,
would,
you
Sean
know?
would be a lot. But if there's, I mean, for the people listening and for yourself, you should listen to his album, Spilled Milk. It was his only album released. On a side note, that might be cool for anybody listening. Sean recorded. I had been pestering Sean to record his new material before he had passed, and he actually recorded an album at the C group, and I have it, and we're working on editing it and
releasing it?
Yeah, and it's going to be for his family, all the proceeds and all that. But we're working on editing it in the next couple of months, and hopefully, I've been saying this for a while, but now that COVID kind of came through and it's given us a little bit more time to work on projects and go those places.
Sure.
Yeah, hopefully next year we can get Sean's posthumous album out there, and he's really one of the
great.
most.
He's
He was one
very
of the funniest
funny.
people
One
you'd
of the
ever see in
funniest,
your
yeah.
life.
Sean, what's his last name?
Rouse.
He was him
Sean
and
Rouse.
Ralphie came up together. And,
It was actually some cool kind of Houston drama between the two of them. Is he used to Ralphie?
I would
What?
drop that.
Why?
I wouldn't say that.
What is he gonna do? He's dead.
Jeez, they're both.
They're both dead.
both
What a
dead.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can decide if you want to keep it or not.
Sure.
I don't think
I wouldn't.
I don't care. But Ralphie May, there's a story about him stealing Sean Rouse's jokes, using them on stage, and then trying to apologize for it later by bringing him like $20K and like he wouldn't take it. Apparently, that's the
But
story I've heard.
did they ever work through it?
So this is what
I
happened.
don't. I have no idea about that.
I mean,
It's actually not that bad. I was expecting something far more worse.
yeah, it was just.
Sean was really.
And that also is a story that I've heard. It's not.
Right.
I won't
It's
say
not
it's a
firsthand,
fact,
yeah.
but it's a story I've heard.
He tried to
Sean
make
has
do on
not
it.
told. Sean did not tell me that.
Yeah.
I never even asked him about that.
Sean told me a bunch of stuff after his recording. We just went in the back and talked for like an hour.
Mostly told me to get shots for him.
Yeah.
Just give-
Why don't you go in the corner and get Papa some Tito's and shut up. Zip bang.
When Ralphie had passed, this is how cool Sean was, and also like a side of him where it made you realize like this is the growing up part in comedy where you realize like, oh, I'm being an idiot. But like when Ralphie had passed, I texted him and I go, well, I guess you won.
That's
Something
hilarious.
like that as a joke. And then he just didn't respond to me. He didn't respond. He usually like always would message back right away, with his stupid nubby fingers. And then he got on, I think he got on Facebook or something and said something like, regardless of my relationship with you, he was a very good comic and it's a sad day for comedy. And like made that remark. And it just made me realize like, oh yeah, I was trying to be like,
Just trying to be funny.
and for him, it's like, no, that's still a guy that I,
Sure.
through our short, differences, that's still like a powerhouse comedian. And you're like, yeah, shit, that's.
I mean, he was still legitly talented.
Yeah, very funny.
And I mean, there's a lot of comics that you find out you love someone. I loved Jay Moore before
That's okay.
I knew about Jay Moore, right? So
don't-
I loved him from TV shows.
What do you mean when you know about Jay Moore?
I'm sure he
Well,
did
what I mean is
something
like
awful.
well, no, just he's notoriously awful. He's the white Carlos Mencia. Like he's Jay Moore is someone that I always loved in TV shows. I followed him for years. Found out he was a comic. I love comedy. Boom! I'm all of a sudden like all
Gotcha.
about Jay Moore.
Uh-huh.
And then I start hearing these waves of horror stories of him being like the Jeremy Piven or Todd Barry or any of these number of people who have a perception within the community, whatever.
They have
and-
resting bitch face, and people
Yeah.
judge him.
Yeah.
First.
Unfairly.
Yeah.
Some of them unfairly, yeah.
No.
No.
They all sound awful.
They all suck. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is like, no, they all suck. People suck. What are you gonna do?
I've definitely met one of those people.
yeah.
And they suck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why I mentioned that one person.
Yeah. I think we talked about this last time. Probably
we
too.
did. I'm having a flashback.
Yeah.
It's just it sucks. It sucks because you like them so much, and then you find out. I mean that's the thing is they said there's some sort of percentage of who you are to be a successful comic. You have to be damaged, right? I mean,
Yeah, I never believed that.
I don't believe it fully. I didn't believe it, and I used to argue Chris D'Elia's not damaged, and then I was like, oh
Okay.
shit, oh well,
Yeah,
never
he
mind.
is.
So it's there were examples of people where you were like, oh, this person didn't grow up with a crazy childhood. They love their family. They're awesome,
Right.
and then later you find out maybe not so much. But
Right.
I don't think they all have to be damaged.
Seinfeld made a good Jerry Seinfeld, by the way, made a good. Just want to clarify for
It's Gerald. I don't know if you
Gerald.
knew that, but it's
from the show Seinfeld.
Geraldine.
Geraldine.
Geraldine's from the South.
Yeah,
Geraldine.
that'd be funny. Southern Seinfeld. Well, what's the deal? All right.
What's the deal with y'all? That's so stupid.
But yeah, that's really
Cut it
But he had
all
a
out.
point about that because I think when he was coming up in the Comedy Store, in an interview I saw, he said that like a lot of the comics kind of had this. Because before he moved to New York and started stand up in New York, I believe that he was in LA for a little bit and he couldn't get spots there. And it's because he didn't fit the role of
An LA comic.
damaged guy that's like telling it like it. He was just like
he couldn't get past at the store.
And so he came to New York and it was just like, yeah, I grew up in the suburbs and I was a Jewish kid from Long Island and I and now today you're like, yeah, he's one of the greatest
Of all time.
Of all time, yeah, he's a goat.
Jay
So-
Leno. Yeah. I mean, just
Pretty
the
Always good at impressions.
just people who aren't super like Kinnison.
Sam
was-
Kinison?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually Sam Kinison. I'm gonna do it every time
I
because
know.
you're the one who introduced me to that. Sorry. I get it. That there's this aspect of being. I mean, Ralphie had his issues, obviously.
I think we all, and that's what I meant earlier. Is like I think everybody has something. I think and we're realizing that more as like a society. But I think with stand-ups, you get to maybe indulge yourself more in the thoughts because you get to speak them. And some people I think just hold them. So maybe it's not so much that stand-ups are more damaged or anything, but it's just that they're more aware because they're always kind of
They're the original reality
talking
TV show.
about it or whatever. So
I mean, reality TV show became famous because you saw what you felt was a more raw, damaged personality,
Yeah.
and you got to see their damaged personality unfold on national television.
Good point.
Comedians started that. Comedians were the ones that would go up there, and you'd see this side of them that you weren't used to seeing. I mean, the 70s and 80s, the what's his name, Richard Pryor, just totally throw out a completely taboo conversation about. He wouldn't say the word vagina, but I'm going to say the word vagina. And see like just a complete effed up perspective from someone that you maybe have had those thoughts yourself, but never really.
Right. Yeah. Most
you
people
get to
that
see it
don't.
unfold.
Yeah. Most people don't want to indulge in the idea. That's why they're like, for some people, they're like, don't say those words, and you're like, they're just words. They don't matter.
They're just words.
But at the same time,
and that's the thing that drives me.
you're not
nuts
trying to
about-
be like an edgelord or anything. That's not what I'm saying. But
Sorry to interrupt. No, it's something that drives me nuts about cancel culture is language is supposed to be about intention.
right. And we
That's
just
the whole
completely
reason why
lost it.
language exists, is so we can convey an intention.
Right.
So if I say, will you hand me that, and I point, I mean something.
Right.
So why is poop okay to say, but shit is not? They mean the same thing.
Right.
One is more vulgar than the other. I just never understood the dysfunction.
Here's the problem I had. Did you pour me?
No, I didn't, because you're still.
That's the problem I have.
That's yours though. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's yours.
Oh, you just poured this.
Yeah,
Okay.
I poured it.
There we go. All right.
Yeah,
What's
so
the problem you
that's
have?
in class.
I don't know.
and I got to tell you, so I know Waterford is a newer sponsor for the show. I will say this, this guy they
Is that the Arcadian series?
Is that a reference to something I'm not going to
I
get?
just read it off the back of the bottle. I thought it'd make me seem like I knew what I was talking about.
Yeah. For a second, I was like, what?
The Arcadian series. This is the guy.
Nice. That was good. I like that.
It's really good. It's 100 proof Irish whiskey, so it's really good. I've never had so much fun talking about things that we have to cut out of the show while drinking something so good.
I was going to wish my friend happy birthday on the radio.
Do
No, I
it.
can't do it. It's not going to air.
Happy
wouldn't want
fucking
that.
birthday.
Yeah, it goes back to the turtle cock story with TJ Miller. As soon as he saw Jack flagging the word cock, he kept saying cock so many times. He's like,
I love that.
Can't use it for radio, and we couldn't use the episode for radio. So
That's great.
Bummer.
that's the beauty of comedy, is like doing it for the story, telling a joke.
Yeah.
And going through something, even if it ends horribly, so that you can later tell the story. The fact that TJ Miller ruined the episode, not out of malice,
Just
for
that's
comedy.
him. He's
For
fun.
pure comedy.
For funsies. Yeah.
So
I love how much you love comedy. You really like it.
I love comedy, and
It's cool.
I didn't know before. Normally, for most people that come on the show, like Matthew, had to do a lot of research. I know
Yeah.
you guys. I've been following you guys. I've seen you guys perform a bunch.
Right.
So I was like, I don't have to do any research. I had no idea you had a podcast. So
We didn't until yesterday.
the pod, and I would knock those out, like
That's the plan. Is
knock them out.
We're trying to knock out a bunch. We're going to start releasing in probably January, and then have like them backlogged.
Yeah.
And that way we can constantly be a month ahead. You know.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem we have, is being able to keep up. We have nothing in the can, and anytime we get something in the can, something will come up. We had a bunch of guests cancel because of COVID,
Right.
so then we have to burn so it sucks.
Yeah, that sounds not fun.
So every week,
You need
trash flavor
filler
trash.
episodes like this.
Yeah.
we'll come in. We'll come in and we will ruin an hour every week if you want.
Trash flavor trash every week. iTunes. It's not up yet though, right?
It's not up yet. It will be. Just I guess stay tuned. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a stupid
Just
thing to say.
follow
Don't
us.
hesitate.
But
Put
yeah.
it up immediately.
Just follow us
Yeah.
and
You think?
you'll see.
Yeah. I mean, what are you waiting on? You feel a little nervous? You want to clean it up first?
No,
We
it
definitely
was-
need to clean it
well,
up.
yeah, we have a producer who is probably great. We'll see. And I think he's going to
great.
do the clean. Yeah,
He's terrific.
He's doing the cleanup for us, and then going to put it up. But I think we're just waiting to just have a backlog. That way, we're worried about. We want to be consistent, and so having that backlog of shows will give us a little like, hey, we can't do it this
Some
week.
safety. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what we're worried about.
Yeah.
more than
Plus, the
anything else.
first couple seem to be like not like no guests. We're just sort of talking out, and then we're gonna have friends and guest comedians and good gets and stuff that
Well,
will
I
make
mean-
it more fun.
As much as you guys are ingrained with, especially within booking Houston, your guest opportunity should be pretty great. And
yeah,
to see-
and that's I think that's between the three of us. Our producers also connected in music, and so in between our friends, and that's kind of what the whole thing is. Just going to be me and him being friends and talking to our friends.
you should get shit faced with Paul Wall.
I would love to. That
would be good.
He's the sweetest man in the entire
He's really
world.
nice.
He's been to the secret group.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's so weird that I text with him, and it's a very strange thing because when COVID was happening, after a while, he just texted me, "How are you doing, brother?" And I was like, "What is happening
serious?
right now?"
That's so awesome.
That's awesome.
I don't know if he said brother, but he was just like, "How
Yeah.
you doing?" And
Called you broham.
yeah, well, I don't know the verbiage, but I was like, "This is
That's
is
really
wild."
cool.
I was like showing people. I was like, texting me.
What's the weirdest text you've gotten from a celebrity? Both of you have to have someone that you're like, I can't fucking believe I'm texting with this person.
I've I can't think of one specific text, but I've definitely had some weird texts with TJ before.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
And
He makes me feel so insecure.
Why? Why do you say that?
he's such a personality. He's loud and
I texted him when he was coming back. Hey man, come on, let's do some wings.
Mm-hmm.
And, because I don't want to call everyone I know, every comedian I've ever known. If they've got a joke about phone calls or text, it's like, don't call me, text me. Like I'm too busy. Don't like.
I'm
don't
the
call me.
opposite. I'm the opposite.
page me.
I called both of you on the way here multiple times. I'm
Yeah,
a
you
caller
did.
all the way.
Well, I texted him,
Annoying.
and then on Instagram,
called having
within
a
5
brand.
minutes of me texting him, he made a post, and it was a screenshot of how many unread text messages he had, and it was like 10,000 unread text messages. And he goes, "I wish people would call me," and I was like, "Oh fuck!" So like, there's that it's surreal to get a text from TJ Miller and to text back, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the guy, but you second guess everything.
And I don't see. I hate. I think the last time we were here, Norman brought up texting Seinfeld, and it's like whatever you send out, you're gonna feel weird about because it's
Just
never
do
gonna
it.
be. It's like just fucking send it. And you know what? I mean,
remember.
I've had like I've had headliners be like, "Here's my number," and text me, and I text them, and like no response back, and I'll just like send them bullshit funny videos or something like that just to. But it's like at the end of the day, I'm like, dude, if you don't want it, I don't care. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like what is it? It
Block
doesn't.
me.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's all crap. It doesn't matter.
So Paul Wall is your number one, huh?
He's my number one.
Surreal moment of text.
Yeah, I mean that was
That's
a pretty
pretty cool.
surreal. When he texted me is when I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
That's wild.
I think if you two did a series of episodes, because the very first pitch of this was like, I think it'd be fun if we had one bottle and we just record until the bottle's gone. And we'll boil it
Woof.
down
Woof.
and we'll boil because we've had episodes where we had one bottle
Mm-hmm.
and it'll be half gone if there's four of us and you have a
Right.
couple pours over an hour.
Yeah, that's
It's-
true.
It's fairly easy.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, wouldn't it be fun to just get shit faced with some big celebrity?
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
But we realize that no brand will pay for that because they don't want to be seen supporting.
like
drunken
indulgence.
Yeah,
Right.
binge drinking.
Right.
So, okay, then we'll have 8 bottles and we'll each have a little bit of out of each.
Gotcha.
But I think it'd be fun to see just a conversation, an evening with Paul Wall, and it's just a conversation where you two get hammered with him, and it would be fun. And
He's just such a smiley
Getting hammered
dude.
can go off the rails pretty quick.
that's
though.
why you have a producer to clean and post.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
If Paul Wall starts screaming the N word, we can clean that up.
I had this podcast idea with a comic named Zach Dixon, and we called it Bench Drinking, and it was just us talking about all sorts of different sports while drinking one bottle of whiskey. We'd have one guest, and the very first episode we recorded was 4 hours long. And at the end, it's just all of us yelling over each other about our favorite wrestler. It was not good. It ended
great.
poorly. And then we were like, this is not going to work.
No.
We can't do it. It was
horrible idea.
damn near unlistenable at the very end.
It's
Yeah.
harder than it looks, and I thank God every day for Jack off camera.
Check off camera.
But listen,
Oh, I get it. Just didn't know the whole time.
the whole really.
No, I was.
No.
I did, yeah.
That's,
I
I
take
was doing a
anything
character.
I
Yeah,
call
I was doing a character.
that's your favorite. That's your favorite thing to
Yeah.
do.
Oh, that is the best joke to do on people in conversation
Just to
is
play
when
dumb?
you
Yeah.
to play so dumb. You're like, what? I don't. What?
I don't understand.
get. And then finally they start to explain. You're like, I know.
Yeah.
And then they're like, fuck
get
you. Get out of my house.
Mom, I'm working on my stand-up. Listen, thanks so much for coming on the show. We will find a way to boil this down to a listenable 45 minutes. Love you
Yeah.
back.
So wait, this is going on the radio.
No, it'll go on. It'll go on YouTube and podcasts.
Cool.
And then, which most of our listenership's not in Houston anyway, so I'm not too worried about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Yeah.
Who listens to the radio, anyways?
I mean, people on the
You're like a lot.
weekends and they don't want to hear talk. They'd
I did
rather listen to music.
I did an interview yesterday on the radio just because somebody asked me, and I was like, yeah, sure, I'll call in and do
Where?
this thing. I have no idea. I really,
I've done that same show, and I have no idea what
I
it is.
just heard somebody go. I know that the host's name was Ernie because I heard another guest like I can hear.
Named Bert.
Yeah, yes. But this it was like, yeah, Ernie, and I was like, all right, his name is Ernie. Like I'm putting like I don't even know what I'm
You're
doing.
writing it down.
Yeah. So then I got on and we were talking about the club and stuff, and then I'm like. It was like a 3-4 minute interview, right?
It's so quick.
And
It's
people
so
are passing,
funny.
you're on the radio right now. And I'm like, why are you listening to that's
It is wild.
are you at home listening to the radio, you
Reading
psychopath?
a newspaper like
yeah.
a freaking idiot.
Yeah, it's not 1981. What are you doing right now?
That specific one is so weird because I've done it one time where you
Oh,
get
you
on.
really have done it.
Yeah.
Oh, you knew what he's talking about.
I don't.
I thought you were
I
just
don't know
being
the
funny.
name. Yeah, I've done that. I've done that.
I
same
don't know
one.
the name of the
and
thing at all.
it's
Couldn't
like it's such a short segment.
Yeah.
Like whenever I've called in and they're like, "Hey, the one with Andrew Young, blah 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 blah." They ask me like one question. I'm like, I think we're gonna have some good shows this fall or whatever. And they're like, "All right, well, thanks. Have a good one." And I was like, "What just happened?" It was
Yeah.
the quickest. It was like a
They
one.
got the radio voice on too.
Yeah.
Oh, they
Hey,
called in. Andrew,
coming out here at the O.
live on the 5. Yeah.
live.
We got good interviews for your drive home.
Auga.
Thanks so much. You have any dates to promote? Anything you want to throw out there?
Friday, come out to the show
This
Friday, and
At Rudyard's,
yeah,
Dusty will be hosting.
yeah, it's her show, and our buddy Joffer's in from New York, and there's Corliss and Carrie Burtz and Michael Dede on the show too. Great comics, and it's gonna be a fun time.
Well, sweet. Andrew?
Just follow me on Twitter at No Youngblood. Also that on Instagram. I've got some shows in October in College Station. Why did I say that? February. October's over. Just so this was
You're killing it,
clear,
dude.
yeah.
Just to
This
be
sounds
clear.
great.
I will say, I do
know.
like this side of you. You seem very relaxed now.
I think I was drunk this morning when I
Sure.
got here, and now I've just I'm back to where I was at 3
You've
a.m.
rallied, yeah.
Yeah. Now I have to make that decision. Do I nap?
You got to
Or
nap.
do you
do I
keep
nap or
going?
I just go for the rest of the day?
Go deeper.
You
yeah.
can go for the rest of the
Don't
day.
go deeper.
So, promote watching my Twitter later this afternoon. I'm gonna try to tweet that thing we talked about earlier when I'm hammered.
Yeah.
But I don't
You got
know.
a new show called Cold Ones.
Drunk.
Watch that.
Well, thanks so much, guys.
Thank you,
And cheers.
Balcones' first ever year-round bourbon was an inspiration. It all had to work together. A blend of carefully selected ingredients, Texas-sized pot stills, and creative people determined to find the absolute best way to usher a new whiskey along. When you discover how it pairs with a meaningful moment, suddenly the feeling of drinking great whiskey becomes a whole lot more.